Today in John Wesley's Journal is a podcast produced by the Wesley Center at Chattanooga, the United Methodist Student Center. In this podcast, we will learn about early Methodism by following John Wesley through his journal, as he and others begin a movement that would give rise to the Methodist Church in all its forms. So sit back and let's see what happened today in John Wesley's journal. Welcome to Today in John Wesley's Journal for today, December 7th, 1735. But before we get to John Wesley's Journal, let's look at some other things that happened on this day in church history. Today is the feast day of St. Columba and marks the day of his death in the year 521. Born in Ireland, Columba went on to help evangelize much of Ireland, northern England, and Scotland. He founded two monasteries during his lifetime, one in Ireland and the other on the Isle of Iona in Scotland. Here is a prayer entitled Columba's Rock from Robert Vandeveer's 1997 book, Celtic Prayer. Delightful it is to stand on the peak of a rock in the bosom of the isle, gazing on the face of the sea. I hear the heaving waves chanting, attuned to God in heaven. I see their glittering surf. I see the golden beaches, their sands sparkling. I hear the joyous shrieks of the swooping gulls. I hear the waves breaking, crashing on rocks like thunder in heaven. I see the mighty whales. I watch the ebb and flow of the ocean. It holds my secret, my mournful flight from ire. Contrition fills my heart as I hear the sea. It chants my sins, sins too numerous to confess. Let me bless Almighty God, whose power extends over sea and land, whose angels watch over all. Let me study sacred books to calm my soul. I pray for peace, kneeling at heaven's gates. Let me do my daily work, gathering seaweed, catching fish, giving food to the poor. Let me say my daily prayers, sometimes chanting, sometimes quiet, always thanking God. Delightful it is to live on a peaceful isle in a quiet cell, serving the King of Kings. On this day in 1542, Emperor Charles V placed a bounty on Menno the pacifist leader of the Anabaptists. And on this day in 1965, Pope Paul VI and Athenagoras I, ecumenical patriarch of the Orthodox churches, reversed their mutual excommunications of 1054, which led to the East-West split in medieval Christianity. And also this week, John Knox led Scottish Protestants as they signed their first covenant on December 12, 1557. John of Damascus died on December 4, 749. Counted among the post-Nicene fathers of the early church, he left a great inheritance to the church. John wrote an exposition of the Orthodox Christian faith and theology. In this passage, he teaches us about the nature of God's living word, which has come into the world. We hold, then, that the divine substance of God, the Word, existed before all else and is without time and eternal, simple and uncompounded, uncreated, incorporeal, invisible, intangible, uncircumscribed, possessing all the Father possesses, since He is of the same essence with Him. And yesterday, December 6th, was the feast day of St. Nicholas. His feast day in the Western Church marks the day of his passing. The traditions which surround the life of St. Nicholas have come to influence our modern jolly old St. Nick or Santa Claus. In one of the stories of the original St. Nicholas, he sets out to secretly save three sisters from a life of poverty by providing their family with the money necessary for their dowries. Approaching their home under the cover of darkness, he tossed bags of money through their windows, where they landed in the stockings, in some stories it was shoes, which were drying by the fire. So don't forget to hang up those stockings, kids. Nicholas is also remembered as a bishop who attended the Council of Nicaea, where he and others defended the divinity of Christ against the heresy of Arius and his followers. The Arian controversy questioned the co-eternal nature of Christ and claimed that he was a created being. This, as John of Damascus would tell you, was a problem. It was apparently a problem for St. Nicholas as well, who, legend has it, hauled off and decked Arius, or slapped him, we're not sure, but it makes for some funny memes. On St. Nicholas Day, we remember another great teacher of the church, Thomas Aquinas. While observing the feast day of St. Nicholas in 1273, Aquinas experienced a vision of heaven which was so amazing that he gave up his lifelong work of writing. Josef Pieper tells us the story. On the feast day of St. Nicholas in the year 1273, as Thomas turned back to his work after Holy Mass, he was strangely altered. He remained steadily silent. He did not write. He dictated nothing. He laid aside the Summa Theologica on which he had been working. Abruptly, in the middle of his treatise on the sacrament of penance, he stopped working. Reginald, his friend, asks him, troubled, "Father, how can you want to stop such great work?" Thomas answers only, "I can write no more." Reginald of Piperno seriously believed that his master and friend might have become mentally ill through his overwhelming burden of work. After a long while, he asks and urges once again. Thomas gives this answer, "Reginald, I can write no more. All that I have written seems to me nothing but straw, compared to what I have seen and what has been revealed to me." I suppose an experience of the living word like that puts everything else we see as important into perspective. And now, John Wesley's journal for today, December 7th, 1735. Finding nature did not require so frequent supplies as we had been accustomed to, we agreed to leave off suppers, from doing which we have hitherto found no inconvenience. And now we return to our time, but we'll be back for another entry in John Wesley's journal on December 10th. Have a good day.